I wanted to do my top 10 favorite movies of the year list. I know a lot of people will be doing it within the next couple of days to the next week, and so I decided, just go ahead and do mine. I decided to do it 1 through 10, with 1 being the highest and number 10 being the lowest. These are all my favorite films of the year. So at number 10, we're going to have Aladdin. The beginning of Aladdin's kind of choppy, kind of messy. They kind of butcher some of the original songs from the animated version. The first probably 5 minutes is not very good at all. And I know that sounded like, kind of dissing the film. How could this be one of my favorite? Because the film actually does get way better as it goes. When the remake to Aladdin actually is able to do its own thing, it actually strives really, really, really well. I mean, it's really, really well done when it's able to do its own thing. It's just when it tried to copy the animated version is when the movie kind of falls apart. And it did enough for it to make my list. Like it did. I mean, this story is kind of different from the animated version. At the same time, it's kind of similar too. They do some of the same things, but not everything was the same. So it kind of, like, the entire third act is just completely different than what was in the film. I like the animated version better, obviously, but this movie was actually pretty good, and I really enjoyed it. The girl who played Jasmine, Naomi Scott, she's going to become a big actress. She was also in the recent reboot of Charlie Angels. While that movie wasn't, very good, she was good in it, and I think she's going to become a huge, huge actress. I mean, she definitely deserves to become an A-lister. She's very, very, very good. Um, Here's my number 9. Hobbs and Shaw. I really love the Fast and the Furious franchise. I like 1 through 8, with the exception of 7. I did not like 7 at all. 7's trash to me. I just did not like 7. It didn't make any sense. It was all over the place. There was no narrative story. No. And I mean, I know it's crazy action and all that kind of stuff, but with 7, it's just, it just fell apart. I mean, they really didn't know what they were doing with 7. But like I said, I like all the rest of them, and Hobbs and Shaw is no exception. Dwayne The Rock Johnson's in it. Jason Statham's in it. Ryan Reynolds plays a cameo, which he's very good in it. The entire movie's just a lot of fun, and I had a lot of fun watching it in the theater. And I think most people would too when they see it. I mean, it's kind of a stupid action film. Turn off your brain, watch it. It's popcorn flick. It's very good though. Number 8 is Zombieland. I really, really enjoyed the second Zombieland. Zombieland 2, yeah, it's better than even the original. There's a lot of character growth with all the characters. It was really funny too. I mean, you're gonna have a blast. I laughed so hard in this movie, harder than I expected to, because I imagined Zombieland 2 was going to be good. I just didn't think it would be this good, and it really outshines the original. I mean, this movie was definitely worth the wait. Yeah, I didn't mind having to wait 10 plus years before the movie actually came out. This movie was a great sequel to it, and it was kind of a fitting end to the Zombieland war too. So if they make a third one, cool. If they not, it's not gonna bother me because I got these two amazing films. Number 7. This movie got no love from anybody. I mean, this was the worst box office bomb in history. Anyone who reviewed it kind of said it sucks. And I'm seem to be the only one that liked it. And this movie is way better than most people are saying it is. I mean, it was super good. It was better than it had any business of being. And that's the movie Playmobil. It's something I'm probably going to end up getting on DVD because it's one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite movies of the year. It was super good. I went in there with low expectations because I saw a preview for it was like $5 movie tickets, and it was like, it was a week before the movie came out. I was like, oh, that's gonna suck. And then I had nothing better to do, so I went to go see it, and it blew me away. It was so good. Nobody paid attention to this movie. Nobody cared for this movie apparently, and it became a box office bomb. It definitely deserves better than what it got. That's what I would say. Then here's my number 6. It is Doctor Sleep, which is a sequel to the Shining movie, and I really really enjoyed the Doctor Sleep movie. It's it had great villains, it had a great hero, it had all great characters, and the best way I can describe this movie, it's basically a superhero movie, but not a superhero movie. I mean, they call them like magic and stuff, and all that kind of stuff. They all have magic and stuff, and these bad guys trying to steal all these other people magic, and the only way to steal their magic is essentially killing them. And they kill kids because they're the most powerful of the bunch, and they do it to eat and all this kind of stuff to survive and all that kind of stuff. And this movie was just so good. It blew my expectations away. I loved it. It's basically a superhero movie, but not a superhero movie at the same time. And it's one of my favorite films of the year. I thought it was so good. Number five. This one was going to be a no-brainer. Obviously, Marvel Endgame was going to make this list. This is kind of, I felt like the ending of the Marvel Universe in many, many, many ways. I mean, it's not really the true end of the Marvel Universe, they're obviously continuing. But this movie, kind of felt like it was the ending for the original bunch. And almost every hero got their send off in some way, and it was very, very, very good. The way they defeated Thanos, to all those sacrifices, to all of them being able to get, in some way, getting what they want. It was very, very, very good movie, and I really enjoyed it. Uh, then, of course, I got number four, Jordan Peele's Us. Well, basically, people come out of the mirror to kill their like doppelganger self. It was actually a very, very, very good movie. I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I kind of saw the twist coming from the beginning, but I still really enjoyed this movie. It was definitely a fun little action movie. I mean, it's kind of in the horror genre, but I don't think it should be. I mean, I get why it is, but at the same time, it's not really horror. I guess it is. I guess it's action horror movie, if that makes sense. Well, basically, you're fighting yourself, and you have to defeat yourself. And the ending, which I saw coming, makes perfect sense. At the same time, what makes it interesting is while everyone else from the Mirror Ward was the villain, the main hero actually came from the Mirror Ward and was the one trying to defend her family who she married and all this kind of stuff in the real world. You got to watch the movie. It's just very good, and it makes a lot of sense at the end of it. And you kind of start to think about things, and you see what Jordan Peele actually did there, and you're like, I get it. I see what you did there. It's extremely well done, I think. So yeah, Us is number four. Number three, Shazam. Shazam was also a very funny movie. I really enjoyed it. Not only for it being a superhero movie, but for the comedy they threw in there, from the idea of a little kid becoming an adult, all that kind of stuff, and then him trying to adjust to his new adopted family, that kind of stuff. It's very, very well done, and it's the best DC movie that they've made since the Batman films. I mean, this movie was really good, and it definitely deserves the sequel. Then, of course, you have this one's a no-brainer, The Joker as number two. Uh, Joker is so good movie. I mean, uh, Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix did a wonderful job with this movie. I mean, you really got to get into the mindset of the Joker. And what was so interesting about this movie is the fact that it doesn't take away from the comic book character of who the Joker was. In fact, it actually is a great on-screen representation of it, because you don't really get a backstory with this movie. You really don't. You think you do, and then every time you figure out that you get a backstory, you don't, and that's what the movie does really well. And it's really, really well done on how he became the Joker, how this ordinary man just became this psychopathic killing, and it was really an interesting ride. And I gotta say, this was really one of my favorite movies, probably of the series. Why it's on number two. And then, of course, number one, this is my favorite movie of the year. And the reason it is because I could relate so much with it. It's definitely a film that is very funny, very relatable, and very understanding. And this was Spider-Man Far From Home. It's really a extremely well done superhero team movie at the same time. You know, it's Peter Parker going to Europe and exploring all what's over at Europe and all that kind of stuff. He's trying to get with Mary Jane Watson, but his plans fail every time, and you can relate to it when it fails every time. Because if you've been the geeky or naughty guy that always wants to try to get the goal and all that kind of stuff, and every time you come up with something to do, it always seems to fall apart. This movie does that. This movie does that extremely well, and you kind of feel for Peter as the movie continues, and it's really, really well done. And then the villain, Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie, is really good too. I mean, the whole Mysterio thing, him being the main villain, it was definitely a very enjoyable ride. Definitely Far From Home is the movie to watch. I think that was the best movie of the year. I think it was really good, and I guess this is where my list is so far. So, thank you.